Most women aren't failing fat loss because they're in any way lazy or in any way unmotivated. It's really quite often the opposite of this. Many of you are doing so much right. You're training hard, you're putting in time into the different types of training that you know you should be doing, the strength training, the cardio, being really diligent with and disciplined with that. I know that you're thinking a lot about your nutrition. You're aware of what you're doing, you want to know more, and you're trying to be mindful and intentional with exactly what you're doing as often as you can. You're trying to make better choices than you have in the past, better choices than you know that you've made when things haven't worked out for you or brought you the results that you've wanted to see. So really showing up for yourself. And I know this is a mindset transition as well from previously, perhaps before you came to me or before you ever started to learn about or research things of body and health transformation and what you should be doing. So really stepping up, really putting time in, like I said, being intentional about what you're doing. All of that, of course, these are core pillars and it really matters, and it's so important that we're actually doing all of this. But what I actually see quite often is that there are a few very specific things that are quietly stalling progress along the way, and they're not obvious. And for the very reason that they are subtle, they can often make you feel like you're doing everything right, but you're still not seeing the results that you expect to see, or you feel you're deserved to see, the payoff that you feel like you should be getting based on the effort that you're putting in. Because who wants to try so hard, restrict themselves in various areas that maybe other people are not restricting themselves in, or putting in a really hard effort compared to how you may have done before? Training harder, being more aware of stress, more aware of sleep, saying no to things, saying yes to things, really following a journey to bring about the transformation that you want to feel and want to see. Who wants to put in all of that effort and not see results? Of course, it seems like it's not fair. It seems like it's unjust, and it doesn't make sense. So the fact that this can happen sometimes, there are specific reasons, and I want to walk through 5 of the biggest mistakes that I see all the time that can actually slow down the fat loss process, even when you feel like you're putting in all the effort, a lot of effort, and when you feel like you're doing absolutely everything right. Now, the goal here is not about judgment or criticism. This is simply about bringing awareness to some of the patterns that are really common, that I see a lot, that once I even bring them to your attention, you'll realize that they're a part of your journey, or you see maybe in other people or yourself in the past. But once you see them clearly, they become much easier to adjust. And this is what it's all about. It's about having control over what you're doing, awareness first of all, then choice and decision, and putting intentional change and adjustment into exactly what you're doing, with ultimately having control then over yourself and over the outcome. So the first one is chasing perfection instead of consistency. So a pattern I see really often is that someone is really disciplined for a few days of the week. They feel like they are aligning with absolutely everything, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday as well, making sure that they are absolutely perfect with absolutely everything that they execute. So food is measured to the gram, eaten to the minute, training's done perfectly, your water intake's good, everything's really structured, and most likely feeling really good about yourself as well, having achieved all of this. But then towards the end of the week, or when the weekend comes along, something happens, whether it's life getting busy at the weekend, social things pop up, your routine can change, and things start to loosen up quite a bit. Now, there's nothing wrong with the flexibility in itself, but the problem is often the emotional reaction that then follows that. So when we're stuck in a mindset of all or nothing, when we see and we feel, or we even intentionally try to become perfect, and it happens for the first portion of the week, the mindset has that natural decline towards the end of the week and into the weekend. When things then go slightly off plan, many women immediately think, well, I've blown it. I've ruined the whole week. I'm not going to get the results now. What's the point? I may as well have this weekend. I'll take this weekend for a splurge and I'll start again on Monday, because in your mind, when you have this approach and this attitude, if you like, or if you feel like this is the way that you need to do things, and you see that you've made error, you see that not been perfect consistently, you see it as something is broken, and so it's necessary then to try and to start again. And suddenly the entire week feels like a failure, and often gets labeled as I failed. I started off strong and then I failed. But the problem with this is that fat loss is actually not built on those perfect days. It's built on consistency over time, so consistent weeks. If we have a perfect day, that's great. But when we are basing our results and over a period of time, our effort is going into creating perfect days and the awareness is not on consistent weeks, the results over a longer period of time actually don't come about the way that you're perceiving that they will. A slightly imperfect week, but done consistently over time, will always beat a few perfect days followed by a complete reset, or completely giving up, or completely overdoing it in a way that you know is definitely not going to bring you results. So what matters the most is the overall pattern across weeks and months, not whether every single day that you follow was actually flawless. The second mistake I see is underestimating the calories from what I call healthy extras. So this is a really big one. Some foods like nuts, oils, butters, peanut butters, spreads, dressings, little things, having little tastes of things as we're making our food, as we're cooking, bites of something here or there across the day. All of those little things actually add up very quickly. Often as well, the foods that we go to in these moments are actually quite high calorie foods. Now, the tricky part here with our mind, when we are not completely accountable and aware of what we're doing, is that the foods that we're eating, or the foods that I've mentioned that we normally go to, are actually healthy foods. So mentally we don't think, well, this is something that's going to create a problem or impact my fat loss. We don't logically rationalize it or register it like that. But healthy food still has energy in it, and by energy we mean calories. Calories are a measurement of energy. So with energy, with these healthy foods still providing energy, but still provide, which of course we want, we need, our body needs, when those little extras happen repeatedly throughout the day from time to time, the total that we're consuming across the day can actually become quite significant without us even noticing it. And this is why a little bit of structure around our portions, around our meal plan, around what we're doing across the day can actually be really healthy. This is not about obsessing over food, and it's not about having no flexibility at all. It's simply about being aware of how much we're actually having, and what we're actually doing, and that knowledge is what makes a big difference. Now, if we feel like we're stuck between, but I want to have that freedom, I want to have that flexibility, but I also want to feel a certain way, to look a certain way, to have energy, to have health, we need to understand exactly what we're doing and make a decision about which pathway we want to take, because we simply can't continuously eat copious amounts of food, or large amounts of calories, or continuously eat poor quality foods, or foods that are going to set us back, and get the results. We can have the middle path where we are perfectly satiated, we are never hungry, we have plenty of energy, the foods are low stress and low inflammation enough to bring the body out of a state of inflammation, where we are feeling, we are well, we are nourished, we have good energy, but to a point where body composition wise we're still actually making progress and we're still benefiting from the structure that we're following. Often when women move into a more structured approach where their portions are measured, where they're accountable and aware of exactly what they're doing, we're intentional about what we're eating, they suddenly realize that their intake was actually higher than they realized, higher than you actually thought. So this is really important, and it's something that you don't have to track every single day necessarily, but it is important to start off towards this place of awareness, what's actually happening, by a form of tracking, following structure, which is what we do together, what you do with me, tracking exactly what you're doing, even taking a couple of days where it is an extreme level of tracking to monitor exactly what you're doing, That in itself is a learning phase. So how much water am I drinking? How much snacking am I doing? Am I actually consuming what I think I'm consuming? So doing this at first is like a tracking process or a calibration process, if you like. What's actually happening? Now, wouldn't you like to know if the struggle that you're experiencing, if you feel like results are slow or stalling, or you just can't move forward, you can't budge the scales, wouldn't you like to know if that was the cause of it? Wouldn't it be worth tracking for a few days in quite an aware manner to actually identify if this is the problem? At least then you have complete control over what you're doing. The third mistake is expecting the scales to behave perfectly and in a linear fashion consistently. The scales actually reflect biology, not just fat loss. What I mean by that is our body weight can fluctuate from many different things, from hormonal shifts, from the water intake we have or lack of, water retention, sodium intake, from stress levels, from glycogen storage, and from sleep, very heavily on sleep as well. So if when you're weighing yourself, however frequently that is, you're stepping on the scales and you're expecting consistent, perfect, smooth downwind line, at times this may not happen. And if you don't have the awareness of what's happening biologically, physiologically, this can create frustration and confusion over a period of time. So it's really important. Again, it's a learning phase to actually learn and understand what affects the body at different points of time, like what different experiences or occurrences throughout the day, when I feel like this, when this happens, when I do this, these different variables cause these results. And once we learn how the body functions in this way, it then gives us more calm, more control again, more awareness of exactly what's happening. Because our body just simply doesn't work in the way we think, with the calories in, calories out. Have less calories, reduce calories, increase training, and everything will have a linear downward trend. We have stages of that happening, of course, and when we do the right thing, we have a generally consistent downward trend, but we have, and we'll always will have, small fluctuations along the way. No matter how strict you are, no matter how perfectly aligned your meal plans are, how spot on you are with the training, you can't avoid certain things in life. You can't avoid the occasional poor sleep, stress levels, even executing too much of everything perfectly can create that level of stress in the body that we need more rest than we actually realize. So there are things that we don't need to try to avoid. We just have to be aware that they're going to be, of course, hormonal, cyclical fluctuations and cycles as well. So we want to be mindful that that happens. They don't need to be scary. They don't need to be threatening. They don't need to be even negative in any way. We just want to look at what's happening from time to time, learn how the body works. But the main way to overcome this in a positive way is to take a step back and assess trends over a longer period of time, rather than reacting to individual daily numbers. I mean, sure, you can do that to, again, learn the body and see what's happening, but we want to assess trends over time. And for that reason as well, which is why we also do, as well as the scale, we also look at measurements. We look at our photos as well. They're really helpful. We want to look at other biomarkers as well. We want to look at how we're feeling in our clothes, how you're feeling in your energy, stress levels, sleep, moods, hormones, digestion, bowel movements, all the things that you either have previously or once upon a time complained about, or that you've wanted to change, or that ever come into your awareness throughout the day. These are all the bio feedback from the body. So how are we feeling, how are we looking, and then looking at the metrics as well. Now, sometimes our body is changing even when the scale isn't moving immediately. So we want to, that's the main reason that we want to keep checking these things. So how our clothes are fitting, how our body, you may even notice looking in the mirror, you can see your body shape changing. Now in the gym, you're going to be feeling huge differences in your fitness and in your strength. These are all really meaningful signs of progress that I really want you to be aware of, but also put more emphasis on. So really look out for those and see those as wins, and those as proof, and feedback that you're actually making really great progress as well. The fourth mistake I see quite often is not eating enough food, not having enough energy for the supporting the training that you're doing, especially strength training. And if you are doubling up on training, you're at a point where you're doing strength training and forms of cardio. This is an area that I see quite a lot. Ladies not realizing that they can actually fuel to quite a high degree in order to feed their body, enable their body to have the energy to do their training, but also get results at the same time. This is more common in ladies who are particularly active or more active than others. So if you are training regularly, but you're not sure if you're fueling your body properly, what can actually happen is your energy will drop. You can find that you start craving more, your cravings increase, and your stress hormones creep up as well. So when we are withdrawing the withholding the calories and the fueling that you need, but asking the body to perform, it starts feeling like it's under a lot of pressure. The cortisol spikes, it feels very stressed. And instead of actually all the training helping you with fat loss, it will actually make the process feel much harder, because for your body, it isn't thinking about burning the body fat. It's thinking, I'm under threat and being asked to do all this exercise, but I don't have the fueling. So what you may end up feeling is that you're exhausted, you may feel hungry. Being mentally drained is a big one as well. It's quite an awful feeling. And when you do go into that place, that state, that mindset, you can then have a real lack of clarity over exactly what is really going on. So rather than thinking about restriction, we want to think about structured eating that is supporting both your training and your recovery. So your body is going to need to be fueled correctly to perform, to recover, and to function well. So it's really, really important to understand all of this. And when nutrition is balanced properly, your energy and your consistency, it will start to improve significantly over time as well. So you'll find you've got more energy, you're performing well, you've got your fitness feels like it's increasing, your strength's increasing, and you're seeing the results within your body as well, body composition wise. The fifth mistake I see probably more often than the others is actually quitting emotionally before the body has time to respond. So what I mean by that is starting the process, but setting expectations that then become emotionally tied to the results that you see, even quite often on a timeline. And when you're not seeing the results that you think that you should see by a certain time, then leading to a giving up process, not giving the body enough time to actually respond to the entire process that you're following. This is really, really common. Your body often needs quite a few weeks to adapt to your new routine. It's more likely than not that it's been quite a long time that you haven't necessarily been following a suitable eating plan, lifestyle, exercise, stress, various things that you weren't aware of before. And it takes time for your hormones to adjust. It takes time for your energy system to adapt, and your body takes time to respond to the training. All of that needs to build, and to the change in food and fueling as well. You do see very rapid results at the start, that as the body has almost a shock of improved circumstances, but then the body needs to settle into the process, and that progress does start to happen, but it's sometimes happening internally more so than it is happening visibly externally. The process is always happening constantly, but if we become discouraged after a short period of time, or we become too emotional about the process and then abandon it altogether, you'll never actually reach the point where those changes start to show to the degree that you were expecting, that you were wanting, and that you would have experienced had you followed through the course. Now, the other thing with that is it's a mindset of a challenge or a period of time where you're going to follow a certain process. It's not yet realizing that in order to have these results, it needs to become a shift in mindset, a shift in the version of you that you see yourself as, ultimately a shift in lifestyle. And the women who succeed long term, they are not the ones who never struggle. They struggle, and they're not the ones that don't ever have a difficult week, because they do, but they're the ones who keep showing up throughout the process and through that messy middle phase, regardless of what happens. They trust the process, they stay steady, they stay consistent, and they truly want to adapt into the new version of themselves. They want to be the lady who follows through with the plan. They believe in the plan, they believe in the process, and they allow the process to unfold. It's about taking off the time frame and saying, I'm going to do this for a set period of time, 8 weeks, 10, 15 weeks, and almost as though then you're going to go back to previous habits, which of course logically simply couldn't work. If we stay present and we trust the process, and we follow the process, but we're always in that present moment, we're just living life, we're just getting on with it, then we're going to see the consistent results occur. Fat loss will occur, the changes will occur. We don't always see dramatic changes instantly. We see small, steady improvements repeated over time, and that's how we want it to be as well. We want a gradual change of the body that is permanent, that shifts, that is there for us long term. We want to transition into a new version. We've got to rebuild the body at a cellular level. So this is something that we want to gradually shift, not just our body, but our mindset to a new version of ourselves until it becomes completely normal. So I'd love to hear from you, ladies, if this has brought anything up for you. What have been your biggest challenges lately? What have you maybe been struggling with or feel stuck with? And also tell me about something that's gone really well for you this week, something that maybe you've overcome, a little bit of a sticking point, whether it's mindset or physical or within your body. Any small little win, it's so important and worth acknowledging, because these are all parts of the process that we talk about when we talk about mini wins along the way, that build up another brick in the wall, that create the overall picture at the end. Now, if there's also another topic that you'd really like me to cover in one of the upcoming webinars or topics that I talk about, drop that in the notes below as well. Comment down below or anywhere you like, and let me know if you'd like me to chat about anything specific. Keep showing up for yourself this week. Remember, always, your progress is built week by week, and every small step you take is moving you forwards. Trust the process, trust yourself more than anything else. What you're doing is going to work. It is going to transform you into a new version of yourself. That version of yourself is going to bring about the results. You're going to look amazing and you're going to feel amazing. I believe in you. Look forward to hearing from you. See you next week. Bye bye.